In 2000, the average American League pitcher had an ERA near 5.00. Pedro Martinez, 1.74. He wasn't just better than everyone else, he was nearly 3 times better. Let me repeat that, 3 times better.
Need to mention the things that I've done to prove that pitching inside works.
In an era where 300-pound sluggers were launching baseballs into the stratosphere and home run records were falling like dominoes, the most dominant force in baseball was a 5'11", 170-pound artist from the Dominican Republic who looked like he could blow away in a strong wind.
If he wants to take my check, he can take it, because I'm not going to quit pitching inside.
So how did Pedro Martinez make the most feared hitters of the steroid era look like they'd never held a bat before? This is the story of how one man didn't just survive the most cartoonish offensive era in baseball history, he absolutely conquered it. To understand just how insane Pedro's dominance was, you need to understand the absolute nightmare he was facing. The late 1990s and early 2000s weren't just a high offense period. This was a full-blown statistical explosion, the steroid era. The American League ERA in 2000 hit 4.91. Think about that. That's catastrophic. Pitchers weren't competing. They were barely surviving. Home runs flew out of ballparks at a staggering rate. McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and Barry Bonds were rewriting the record books. Hitting 40 home runs felt routine. The strike zone shrank. The ball flew farther. This was an environment specifically designed to break pitchers. And into that inferno walked a man from McGwire, Dominican Republic, who weighed less than some of his opponent's biceps. Pedro Jaime Martinez was born on October 25, 1971, in McGwire. His family lived in poverty, but they had baseball. His older brother, Ramon Martinez, had already made it to the majors with the Dodgers and became Pedro's ticket to a better life. When the Dodgers signed Pedro in 1988, he was just 16 years old, barely 140 pounds, and got $6,500. For context, top prospects today sign for millions. But even as a skinny teenager, Pedro had something that couldn't be taught. An unshakable belief in himself and a competitive fury that would define his career. Here's the thing though, scouts consistently underestimated him because of his size. His own manager, Tommy Lasorda, saw him as a reliever at best. The baseball establishment had a rule: small pitchers don't last, small pitchers break down. Pedro took that personally. Every single doubt became fuel. After the Dodgers traded him to Montreal in 1993, Pedro began building his legend. He studied hitters like a chess master, perfected his mechanics, and polished a devastating arsenal. By 1997, he went 17-8 with a 1.90 ERA and 305 strikeouts, winning his first Cy Young Award. But the small market Expos couldn't afford to keep a king, so they traded him to the Boston Red Sox before the 1998 season. And that's when the legend truly exploded. If Montreal was the climb, Boston was a summit so high that no other pitcher of his era could even see the top. Between 1999 and 2000, Pedro wasn't just the best pitcher in baseball. He was playing an entirely different game. In 1999, he went 23-4 and won the pitching triple crown with a 2.07 ERA and 313 strikeouts. Now here's where it gets crazy. The league average ERA was hovering near 5.00. While everyone else was getting shelled, Pedro was making it look easy. He struck out more than 1 out of every 3 batters he faced. But Pedro's genius always shined brightest on the biggest stages. Take the 1999 All-Star Game at Fenway Park. Facing a murderer's row of National League sluggers, he put on an absolute clinic. In just 2 innings, he struck out Barry Larkin, Larry Walker, Sammy Sosa, and McGwire, one after another. Then he fanned Jeff Bagwell, 5 strikeouts against 6 of the most feared hitters on the planet. The crowd went absolutely insane. And get this.
Got him with a changeup and a good start for Pedro Martinez in the American.
2 months later, on September 10th, he walked into Yankee Stadium to face Boston's arch rivals. This wasn't just any game. This was Red Sox versus Yankees in the Bronx with the division on the line. Most pitchers would feel the pressure. Pedro thrived on it. He pitched a complete game one-hitter, striking out 17 Yankees. The only blemish? A solo home run by Chili Davis in the 2nd inning. After that, he retired the next 22 batters in a row in Yankee Stadium. In September, Yankees outfielder Paul O'Neill said it perfectly. "We didn't get beat by the Red Sox, we got beat by Pedro Martinez." Now, if you think 1999 was impressive, wait until you hear about 2000. As impossible as it sounds, he was even better. While the league-wide ERA hit its steroid-fueled peak, Pedro's dropped to a microscopic 1.74. For context, the next best ERA in the American League was Roger Clemens at 3.70. That's more than double Pedro's number. This brings us to the single most mind-bending stat in modern baseball, ERA+. This measures a pitcher against the league average, where 100 is average and 200 is Hall of Fame territory. Pedro's ERA plus in 2000 was 291. Let that sink in. He wasn't just better than average. He wasn't just twice as good. He was nearly 3 times as good as the average pitcher at the absolute height of the home run boom. It remains one of the highest marks in Major League history. His whip, walks, and hits per inning was 0.737, the lowest mark of the modern era. In a time when hitters were feasting on every other pitcher, Pedro refused to even let them sniff first base. Here's what separated Pedro from everyone else. He was absolutely fearless. While other pitchers pitched around the big hitters, Pedro attacked. He wanted to face the best. When the Red Sox needed a win, Pedro took the ball and delivered. His mentality was simple. You think you're the best hitter? Prove it. I'm coming right at you. This wasn't just confidence. This was a warrior's mindset forged in poverty, sharpened by years of being told he was too small, and perfected by obsessive dedication. Hall of Famer Jeff Bagwell once said, "When Pedro had it going, you felt like you had no chance. Zero." In his career, Pedro made 26 playoff starts. In those starts, facing the absolute best teams in baseball, he had a 2.89 ERA and struck out 118 batters in 165 innings. When the stakes were highest, he was at his best. So how did this 170-pound pitcher dominate an era of superhuman sluggers? It wasn't just about throwing hard. Sure, he had a fastball that could touch 98 miles per hour, but his true weapon was the changeup. Thrown with the exact same arm speed as his fastball, it would float toward the plate looking hot, then suddenly drop off a table, leaving the most powerful hitters swinging at air. Add in a razor-sharp curveball and impeccable control, and you have a master of destruction. The numbers tell the story. 3,154 career strikeouts, only 760 walks. But beyond the physical gifts was a fiery intelligence. Pedro studied film obsessively. He knew every hitter's weakness. He kept detailed notes. He remembered every at-bat. He famously said, "I wanted to beat the best teams. I wanted to beat the best players. That's what drove me." For Pedro, pitching wasn't just a job, it was art. The mound was his canvas, and every game was his masterpiece. For all his personal trophies, one prize remained: a World Series title for the long-suffering Boston Red Sox. After his historic peak, shoulder injuries began to take their toll. But in 2004, Pedro still had one more chapter to write. The Red Sox hadn't won a championship since 1918, 86 years. The curse of the Bambino. Every Boston fan knew the pain. In the 2004 ALCS against the Yankees, Boston fell behind 3-0 in the series. No team had ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. The curse seemed destined to continue. But in Game 5, with elimination looming, Pedro took the ball at Yankee Stadium on short rest. He threw 6 innings, allowing just 1 run. He gave his team a chance. The Red Sox won in 14 innings. Boston would force a Game 7, and Pedro came out of the bullpen on 1 day's rest to pitch a scoreless inning, sealing the comeback. Then came the World Series against St. Louis. Pedro started Game 3 and threw 7 shutout innings in a crucial 4-1 victory. The Red Sox swept the Cardinals. When the final out was recorded, Pedro Martinez, the kid from McGwire who was told he was too small, stood on the field as a World Series champion. The curse was broken. Pedro later said, "Winning the World Series in Boston meant everything. Those fans had waited so long, and to be part of ending that drought was the greatest honor of my career."
I chose to miss those 3 outings and not miss the respect that you guys are showing today for me and the appreciation that you have for me today.
Pedro finished his career with 219 wins, a 2.93 ERA, 3,154 strikeouts, and 3 Cy Young Awards. His career ERA plus of 154 is one of the highest in baseball history. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Pedro changed the game. He proved that size didn't matter if you had heart, intelligence, and skill. He showed that a pitcher could dominate through artistry, not just power. He paved the way for smaller pitchers who came after him. In 2015, Pedro Martinez was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame on his first ballot with 91.1% of the vote. During his speech, he broke down in tears thanking his family, his brother Ramon, and the Dominican Republic. His number 45 was retired by the Boston Red Sox, hanging forever in Fenway Park. Pedro Martinez's story is more than unbelievable stats. It's about skill triumphing over size, artistry over brute force. It's about a kid from poverty who refused to let anyone tell him what he couldn't do. It's about a warrior who thrived under pressure and delivered when it mattered most. He was the brilliant light that cut through the shadows of the steroid era, a 170-pound pitcher who stood on the mound like a giant and made monsters look like mortals. He wasn't afraid of the moment. He lived for it. And when his team needed a championship, he helped deliver it. So here's my question for you. Was Pedro's 1999 to 2000 peak the most dominant stretch by any pitcher in baseball history? Or is there someone else who deserves that crown? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear your take, and I'll be reading every single one. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of baseball's greatest legends, smash that like button and subscribe to Chronicles of the Game for more stories that celebrate the brilliance of baseball history. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.